Hello designers, you're welcome back to my channel. So this is the sewing video of this our camp collar shirt, also known as a Cuban collar shirt. You can see how gorgeous this is looking. I'll leave a link in the description box on how I made the shirt. Please watch that video as well in case you are interested. Keep on watching. So to get started, I'm joining my shoulder points like so. Right sides facing each other. And then I'm going to top stitch on the shoulder point. Take your seam to the back and then you top stitch twice. I didn't cut a facing for my shirt because I'm trying to manage my fabric. I used 3 yards for both the shirt and the short, so I didn't get any fabric for facing, but it's still okay. So I'll be doing the same thing. Take your seam to the back and then top stitch. So I'm gonna be doing like a double top stitching on this shoulder joining part. This is just to give it a design, like a design, okay? So the double top stitching, the second top stitching will be done 1/4 inch away from the first one. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other shoulder too. So before you start sewing, make sure you weave your shirt. So I've gone ahead to weave my shirt off camera. You can see how the shoulder is looking, okay? So once I'm done doing that, I'm going to merge my armhole together and then I will notch the shoulder point, the part that has crease line on the shoulder. So that's why it's very good to iron. When you iron from the onset, you will see your crease line there. So all you need to do is to just notch that crease line. So we already notched our sleeve in the cutting video. So now I'm just merging the notch on the shirt and then the notch on the sleeve together like so. And I'm going to pin down and then I will sew down the sleeve. So when you are joining your sleeve, make sure you are not pulling any part of the sleeve. So this is why you have to cut out your sleeve with the exact measurement of your shirt armhole. Because by the time you start dragging your sleeve, you start noticing rumples on the armhole part when you are done sewing. Okay? So once I'm done sewing, I'll go ahead and sew down my sewing allowance from the armhole. I'm going to sew that down all the way to the hem of the shirt. Don't forget to hem your sleeve allowance. So after I'm done hemming the sleeve allowance, I'm just sewing down my 1 inch for my side seam on the other side. So once I'm done doing that, I'll take this now and then I'm gonna cut out, I'm just gonna notch the beginning point of my button allowance, and then I'll mark 1.5 inches and I'll notch that point. You can as well notch 1 inch depending on how wide you want your cuban collar to be. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Make sure that you have your 4 inches allowance that we used on the beginning part. You can see me merging that point to make sure that I have my exact 4 inches. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the other side. Notch the beginning part and then I'll notch 1.5 inches. So this notching will be a guide for us to sew. So once I'm done notching, I'm going to measure the neck circumference from my second notch, which is from the 1.5 inches notch. You can see I'll measure that all the way round from the 1.5 inches, measure all the way round to the other 1.5 inches notch. So whatever I have is what I'm going to use to cut out my collar. So you can go ahead and measure twice so that you'll be sure of your measurement. So I have 16.5 inches for mine. So I'm just going to put the shirt aside now. So here I'm using my collar gum. So I'll mark out my 16.5 inches on the collar gum. So I want the width of my collar to be 2 inches width. So I'm just going to mark the 2 inches like so all the way down. So you can cut out 2.5 or 1.5 inches for your collar if that's what you want. But I'll be going with 2 inches for my collar. So you can see what my 2 inches look like after I'm done cutting this out. So I'll take a piece of fabric like so. I have 5 inches wide on this my fabric that I cut out. So in case your collar is not gluing down to the fabric, you can use your hemming gum to support it. So I left 1/2 inch on the edge before placing my collar. So you can see now that I'm ironing that 1/2 inch down on the collar part. So I'm just adding my hemming gum so that it will help it relax well. So I'm folding the 1/2 inch like so to give that part a neat and smooth edge. Ironing is very important when sewing. So please, if you are the type that don't like ironing, please cultivate the habit. It's very, very important. So I'm just putting my hemming gum on the part that refused to lay flat. And once I'm done doing that, I'm just going to flip the collar like so, and then I'll give it a good press again before taking it down to the sewing machine. So notice that I have excess by both sides of my collar. I'll be trimming that part out once I am done sewing very close to the collar gum that I cut out. So now I'm just sewing very close to the white collar gum, like so. And I'll be trimming out the excess that I have there. I'll do the same thing on the other side, and I'll trim it out as well. So once I'm done doing that, I will notch both ends of the collar, and then I'll flip this inside out. So before I flip inside out, I'm going to trim out the excess that I have there, leaving 0.25 inches. The 0.25 inches, the 0.25 inch that I have left is what I'll be using to join. That will be my seam allowance for joining to the collar. 0.25. So now I'm going to take my shirt and I'll merge my second notches together. My 1.5 inch notch, I'm going to flip that together like so, and then I'll sew. When you are flipping, make sure you flip right side facing each other. So I've gone ahead to sew down and I stopped at the 1.5 inch notch. So I'll flip over to the other side and I'll sew from the beginning point, and I'll stop at the 1.5 inch notch that I have there. And I'll give that a notch. So once I'm done doing that, I will take my collar and I will insert it into that that notch that I have there. So I'm going to be picking the three of them together. I'll open up the collar and I'll sew down the facing of the fabric, and then I'll sew down to the neckline using my 0.25 inch that I left on my collar earlier. So I'm just going to sew that down like so. I'm going to sew down all the way to the end of the second of my 1.5 inches notch that I have on the other side. So once I get to the other side, I will take the facing and I'll place it on top of it like so that I can join the three of them together. You can see what I just did there. Do not rush this process, just take your time and join it properly, maintaining your 0.25 sewing allowance. So once I'm done doing that, I will open it up like so. I'll flip my collar, and now I'm going to top stitch on my collar like so. So once I get to that my 4 inches allowance that I left when I was cutting the shirt, I'm going to notch on that part of the neckline like so. I'll notch that point, and then I'll push the seam allowance into the collar, and then I'll top stitch down. So once I get to the other side of my 4 inches, I will notch on the seam allowance on that point as well. So once I'm done notching, I'll push the seam allowance into the collar, and then I will top stitch all the way down to the end of my collar. So we have successfully fixed our collar. If you don't understand this part, you can go back and watch the video again. So this is my collar, as you can see. I'm just going to use my scissors to push the ends because I want that point to be sharp. Push both ends out, and then I'm going to give this a good press. So before I press, I'm going to make sure that I maintain my 4 inches allowance that I started with earlier, and I'll press that down again. So once I'm done pressing, I'm going to be inserting my hemming gum into the collar, into that 4 inches facing that I have there, starting from the sharp point of the collar. So here I'm just overlapping my shirt by the 1 inch that I used for the button stand, and then I'm arranging the collar like so. So overlap, you can see what I'm doing, and then I'll give this a good press. Once I'm done pressing, I'm going to take down the length of my shirt, and then I will go ahead and hem the bottom of the shirt, and I'll give it a good press again. And then the final touch is to take it for buttonholes, and then we are done with our shirt. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget to like my video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so, and turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now. Don't forget to watch the video of how I made the short. I'll leave a link in the description box and also in the comment section.